What's good, everyone? Today I will show you how to make money with webinars essentially for free, with no ad spend, no budget, no anything, just running your first webinar organic, then transitioning into paid. First of all, who am I? If you don't know me, my name is Franco. I run a done for you webinar agency, and for our last client we did just over $50,000 from webinar bookings. Now that we got that out of the way, I'll get straight into it. First, there is a trap that you need to identify. You know, when you go on a roller coaster, I said it so weirdly, you're excited for the first time. You go, you like it, and you're happy. And you wanna go again. And then you go again, but then it's not as good as the first time. Then you go again, it's not as good as the second time. And the more times that you go on a roller coaster, it gets to a point where you hate the roller coasters. Your head hurts, your stomach aches, you hate it. Basically, you become sad. The same is with webinars. Your first webinar is a success, a really good success. You run it, let's say organically, maybe you spend some money on ads, and you make a lot of money. And you're happy. And then you say, oh my god, I wanna run it again. This is so good, I will be rich. What do you do then? You run it again and it flops. Maybe not entirely, but maybe almost 50%, let's say. And you're not this happy anymore. Now you're just, it was good, but not as good as the first time. And try run it again. And it flops again. And it's a disaster. And it's even worse. And then again. And again. And by the time you do 5 or 6 webinars, you have no money. You're making no money with webinars. So let's say you run your first webinar, you are in euphoria, you start LARPing, as Charlie McCormack says, you start spending money on bottle service, you start buying cars, I don't know what else you think you're going to be rich. And then you run 5 webinars and you have no money left. And you're confused, you don't know what's happening. Some of you may say, I burned my audience, I just need more ads. And stuff like that. Then, okay, you think ads are the problem, and you spend everything you have on ads. You don't make it back, you find another excuse, just like this one's, and you say, oh my god, my ads are going to organic and not cold. Or you make up something else. Then the cycle just repeats itself. You say maybe webinars don't work anymore. Then you start again. My ads are going to organic, let's say, okay, then I will do only organic. Then you try to do organic, and you again don't make it back. Then you find third reason, and just repeat the cycle. And all of these things, burning your audience, not too many ads going to organic, blah blah blah, those are all small portions of a giant problem. So maybe your problem is that you need more ads, but just spending more money on them won't fix that, because that's not the only problem, that's just a part of the problem. So that brings us to the next point. Why do you fall into this trap? Why does your webinar flop after the first one? Well, your first webinar is a one-hit wonder. If you don't know who this is, if you don't watch football, this is Sergio Roberto. In my opinion, he is a shit footballer, no hate. He lives off of one goal he scored in 6-1 win over PSG. Not relevant, but what I'm trying to say, one hit wonder. He lives off of that goal. You have one good webinar and you think life is on easy mode now, and it flops and you are one hit wonder. You made 100k once and you never make it again with webinars. Why? You need to understand the whole point of a webinar and the concept that webinars are centered around is trust. And trust is a reservoir. This is your audience's trust before your first ever webinar. Let's say you've been uploading content for a year or for months. And that audience has been seeing you for months. They trust you a lot. it's easy to sell to them. And that's why your first webinar is such a hit. Because there's a lot of trust in your audience, and then you drain it all. Your first webinar is a grand slam, as I said, one hit wonder. You make, let's say, 130k, but you drain the trust that you've built for months. And then you run your first webinar, and you want to run the second one 2 weeks after, but you have only 2 weeks worth of trust for the second webinar, and for the first webinar you had months worth of trust, and it flops. And then you run it, and for the third one you have no trust left. Nobody trusts you. The people that trusted you, you exhausted them. You wasted them. Not wasted. You've used them. And further down the line, funnel actually needs to do its job. And what's the job of a webinar funnel? Creating trust in less than 2 hours, 3 hours, how long your presentation is. So you won't get away, as I said, with AI slop or some other BS. And you won't get away with the same offer, with the same promise, with the same script, with the same slide decks that you used for the first webinar. You can't use it for the third, second, fourth. Because you're presenting to different audience. Because now, by the webinar 3, you've used all of your organic audience. Now you need to start scaling with ads. And you bring in cold audience. Now you have cold audience, and you're presenting the same stuff you presented on webinar 1 to your organic audience. It doesn't work like that. You have the same list that it gets colder every time. Each rerun hits people who already heard it. They were hot on webinar 1, warm, then it started cooling. By webinar 3 or 4, nobody cares anymore. If they've seen your first webinar, they won't come to your third webinar, trust me. And something that connects here, as I said, one of the problems people think, ads are going to organic. Then they start pumping money into ads. Pumping money into ads will just expose your bad foundations, your offer, your messaging, your copy, as I said, slide decks, blah blah. And when you're trying to scale with ads, you're just scaling the leak. And you need to fix those foundations. Your first webinar was carried by the trust you'd already built. As I said, you built it for months, and it carried. The ads didn't break anything. They just showed you it was never really working. Because you had a lot of people that trusted you, and you can sell them anything. If you had the worst webinar ever, and you built your audience for months, you will make money. That's just how it is. You will make money with the worst webinar ever if people trust you. Okay? So, scaling with ads, bringing more people in to that same funnel, and it worked on webinar 1 and it doesn't work on webinar 3 or 4, it means it was bad from the start. You just had people that trusted you, so you could sell them on a bad webinar. Now, the campaign sequence. A webinar isn't an event, it's a campaign. A webinar isn't just that 2-hour event, it's everything that goes into it. The days before, the weeks. And there's a 4-step sequence, 4 moves turn a one-off webinar into a compounding machine. And we will go over all of these now. Step number 1, you run your webinar organic. Your first webinar goes to people who already trust you. So first webinar, always organic. No need to put money into ads if it's your first ever webinar, if you have a decent amount of audience. If you don't have any audience, of course, you're going to start with that, but most of you, if you have some organic, run it organic. And you run it to your warm assets, so your email lists, your followers, your past buyers, your people in your Instagram DMs, stuff like that. You make them all come to a webinar. That is a one-line event, but as I said, so that is the event. The presentation is the event, but the whole funnel is a campaign. That's it, like that. And you get sales, which is the most important, resistance obviously, but you get sales, which is why you do this in the first place, to get the money with 0 ad spend. And the only money you had to spend is the infrastructure. So like, I don't know, Go high level subscription, webinar gem subscription if you have above 500 people or whatever it is. So no ad spend, no strangers to convince, basically 0 risk. The downside is basically 0, the safest money in the model. and that's your first webinar, that's your grand slam. That's when you're going to make the most money. Trust me, if you don't know anything about webinars and you're running your first one, it's so hard to fail. I'm being honest, it's so hard to fail. And think of it like this: your organic built up a pressure in your pipe. Those are people waiting to pay you, they trust you. And your first webinar is what burst that pipe, and all of those sales come in, all of that money from the organic build-up. But after that, there's not much pressure built up, obviously. We're going to get to that. Step number 2, house money. If you played poker, you know what this is. The profit isn't yours to spend, it's the business fuel. Webinar profit, so cash collected from the webinar bookings, you turn that into house money. That's what you're going to call it. The business's account. You don't have to have a Revolut business account or anything, just think of it like that. And that is going to be your capital to reinvest. It's not going into your pocket. You can't spend money on bottle service. You can't buy a new car. No, you spend it on the campaign, on the webinar campaign. Mentally bank every dollar as the company's money. As I said, you don't need to have a separate account. But if it makes it easier, you could open a second account just for the webinar money. And that's what you'll gamble in step 3. Obviously, won't gamble it. You're just going to an extent, it is a gamble, but in entrepreneurship, we like to call it testing, I would say, and that data collecting, because you're going to have to play around with ad spend, with certain ad campaigns, and some of them will flop, some of them will hit. That's why I say gamble, but it's all about collecting as much data as possible. And so yeah, you don't put in your own savings, you put the house money. And here's the house money flywheel. So you run your first webinar, which is free to your warm audience. Then you bank that cash in, we said, business account. Then you take all of that money, and I'm being serious, all of it, and you fund cold ads. The more money you have, the better. Because as I said, you can get more data. The more data you have, the better. Once you have enough data, you can literally decide how much you want to spend. If you know how much you want to make, if you have tens of thousands of dollars worth of ad spend data, so you spend tens of thousands of dollars on ads, you have so much data and you know how much you need to spend per customer. You can literally decide how much you want to make. If you know you have to spend $100 to get one customer, that will pay you $2,000, let's say, fictional numbers. You can just say, okay, I will invest $1,000 and get 10 customers. That's basically how it works. Then you fund cold ads, as I said. You build an even bigger webinar with those cold ads. You collect data. Then you get more cash. And then you can take some money for yourself. Because at the end of the day, we're doing all of this to make you money. I would say take 20%, invest 80%. You do what you want, but you need to realize the more you invest back, the more you're going to make in the second round and stuff like that. Then step number 3, as I said, is fund cold ads. House money buys your first cold traffic. You risk winnings, not savings. Let me see if I'm recording those. Okay. So you have your house money that you gathered in step 2. You fund cold ads and you get new cold audience. Your savings are still untouched. If an ad test flops, you lose the winnings. Your own capital never goes near the table. And I would say don't even look at this as winnings. Just look at it as money that doesn't exist. If you made 10,000 from your first webinar, don't look at it as your money. Let's say 3,000 of those ads flopped. You invested 10,000 in ads and 3,000 of those flopped. Oh, it doesn't matter, it's not your money. Then step number 4, reframe, don't rebuild. Each run gets a fresh wrapper and the machine underneath never changes. The foundation never changes. Run 1, let's say you put a new hook or the first hook. That's a fresh wrapper. Then on the second webinar you put a new angle. Again, fresh wrapper. Run number 3, you put a new promise. Run number 4, new guarantees, new bonuses, stuff like that. And that all goes on top of the webinar machine that is basically your offer, so your coaching, your flow, your mechanism, your proof. You build it once, you never rebuild. Offer, maybe you'll need to rebuild it. You probably will need to rebuild it a few times, but most of the times just coming to an offer from a new angle or a new promise will be enough. Because if you're selling video editing coaching, it's always going to be video editing coaching. That's basically your core offer. Now, same first webinar, 2 different tiers. Rerun the same funnel, and in the case, build a campaign and it holds. As I said, the way most people do it, by webinar number 5, they are not making any money. And if you do this correctly, if you build the strong foundations and build on top of them, you're going to go upwards. And that's basically it. Not complicated. And the last step, how to keep your campaign alive. What keeps it alive? 4 foundations under the wrapper, plus the rule that stops you rebuilding. Number 1, the offer. Number 2, one avatar. Number 3, congruence. Number 4, the wrapper. And the 9-to-5 rule. We're going to explain each one by one. First, the offer. Don't pick the offer first, diagnose who is in the room, then build for them. Okay? Who is in the room? Is it your warm list? Are those people from cold ads? Is it a mix of them? Is it hot organic traffic from your DMs? Stuff like that. You need to diagnose them. You need to figure out their awareness level, which is key, I would say. And you need to aware how hot are they. Are they cold? Are they warm? Are they hot? And then you build the offer. You pick a positioning and promise to match your people in the room. The offer is the output, not the starting point. First learn how aware and how warm they are, then decide. Awareness, the most important reason. This is where your audience sets your angle, your promise, and your offer. And it goes from least aware to most aware. It's 5 stages. So you have unaware, problem aware, solution aware, product aware, most aware. If they are unaware, most likely you will need to name the problem. If they are problem aware, most likely you will need to agitate and show the path. And basically I don't want to read all of this, you can read it yourself. And if you're running to mostly cold traffic, it will probably be unaware or problem aware. And the warmer your audience, basically the closer they are to most aware. And what you want to do is get people from unaware to most aware. Awareness sets the message, get it wrong, and even a great offer flops. You're answering questions they never asked or skipping the ones they need answered first. So if somebody doesn't even know they have a problem, if they don't know they're broke, they know they're broke, but if they don't know that's the problem, you can sell them on a dropshipping course. Why would they buy a dropshipping course to make money if they don't know they need to make money in the first place? In the same way, if you have people that are dropshippers and are looking to scale their dropshipping business, you won't tell them they need to make 10k a month to solve all of their problems. They know that. They already have a business going. They just need your help. They are the most aware, they just need to scale. Now, how hot is the room? Is it mostly cold, mostly warm, or hot, or mix of something? Each needs a different on-ramp before the offer. If it's mostly cold, obviously they never heard of you. You need to earn the problem, sell the result, and prove it works. You do this by social proof, by showing case studies. Mostly warm, people that already follow you. Remind, plus differentiate. Why you? They know there are many people selling the same stuff as you. Why you? Make it concrete and add urgency. Why now? And mostly hot, people that are ready buyers. Make the offer, give a reason now, and get out of the way. Don't complicate it. Give them an opportunity to work with you. Okay. And last but not least, in this foundation one, weigh these factors and more, then commit to one room. So weigh these factors. Awareness level, as I said, most important. Temperature, who's actually attending, beliefs, the price they can pay, the price that can pay, the offer size, the market sophistication. Then you build the offer, you position and you promise built for one room. So you're not building for cold and warm people at the same time. It's either cold or warm. You don't sell B2C and B2B on the same webinar. You either commit to B2B or B2C. Awareness and heat are only the start, as I said. Sophistication, price, and beliefs all feed the call. Now, number 2. I'm sorry, I need to drink water. I'm thirsty. Number 2. One avatar. An avatar is one specific person, not a vague coaches and consultants or people wanting to make money online. So I put an example here of my avatar. So let's say Sarah, she runs an 18k month course. She has a problem, and that is content lands, sales calls stall. She wants 50k months, she wants to scale with less calls. She believes she just needs more leads, and she thinks webinars don't work because they are burning out your audience, and you feel you present yourself as salesy and desperate to your audience. Why am I saying this? Get this avatar as specific as possible. Literally write out a Google Doc or 10 pages Google Doc, however you can think of. Sorry for my English. And get this so specific, and your ads, your pages, your webinars, your webinar decks, your webinar scripts will write themselves. You're talking to a person and not a category. Why is this? Okay, this is flipped, doesn't matter. So, speak to one, attract many. Niching to one avatar doesn't shrink your room, it magnetizes it. People think if they are talking to one specific person, they're not talking to enough people, which is wrong. Because if you're talking to everybody, you're attracting nobody. One sharp avatar gets you that exact avatar and similar people. So don't think if you're, don't think if you're aiming for the specific person that nobody else gets in. You have a concept that is called ICP versus Dream Follower. ICP is your specific avatar, and Dream Followers are people close to your ICP, and they will all follow if you make it specific to your ICP. So this is how it looks when it's one sharp avatar. People see it and think this is exactly for me, and when you're targeting everyone, literally no one feels it's for them and nobody joins. Speak precisely to one and everyone. Adjunct leans in. Speak to everyone and nobody feels it's for them. Prove one avatar, then expand. Avatar 2 stays locked until Avatar 1 is proven to convert. Think of it like a video game. So don't change avatars, your ICPs constantly. Prove one, sell to one. Make money with one, then you can expand. One avatar proven, it's converting, it's profitable, then that's your sign that you can try the next one. Then, foundation 3, congruence, if I said it correctly. One promise carried by 4 things that must all say the same thing. So let's say the promise for Sarah here is more sales from your warm list, no ad spend. We have 4 things that all need to say the same thing. And those 4 things are the hook, the mechanism, the proof, and the offer. This is really ugly, the offer. So, where congruence breaks. Every mismatch is a leak. People drop at the seam, not inside the step. So they see your ad, they go to your registration page, they go to your webinar, at the end you put your offer. You rarely lose people inside the step. So you rarely lose people on the webinar when when they're watching, when they're focused. You lose them when you transition to the offer. You lose them at the seams, when the promise quietly changes. So let's say the leak between ads and registration page is hook on the ad is nothing similar to the page headline, or the page the webinar doesn't deliver what registration page delivered, okay? Or webinar isn't about what is sold, okay? It sounds dumb and it sounds like common sense, but so many people get this wrong. And how you can fix this is by running a congruence check. Put the ad and the registration page, for example, side by side. Do they promise the same thing? If you have the ad and you have the registration page, and they all talk about the same thing, they're aimed in the same direction, you did a good job. So they have the same promise, the same mechanism, the same the same avatar. Okay. The last foundation is the wrapper. You lock the core and only change the wrapper. So the core is your offer. As you said, it might change a little bit, but mostly not. The mechanism, how it works, how you fulfill, how you deliver, your proof, your flow, and the price. And the wrapper, which you can play around with and which you swap for basically every webinar. Not you maybe don't need to swap all of them, but some the parts. It's the hook, it's the angle, it's the moment. So is it Q4, is it Christmas, is it summer sale? Then fresh proof. So you maybe got a new client case study. You put that a new format. It's maybe now not just a webinar or presentation. It's maybe a quiz and stuff like that. So basically play around with it. Because the core is proven. You got sales with it. Touch it and throw away your data. The wrapper is the outfit and change it freely to stay fresh. Don't be scared to change it. Wrappers you can rotate. Some examples. So same machine, endless fresh reasons to show up. As I mentioned, seasonal, New Year, Q4, summer, Easter. News, trends that are happening. So react to what's hot now. AI, maybe. Fresh proof, as I said, new case study, new pain angle, same result, new entry, new format, challenge, workshop, quiz, basically anything. And urgency moment, basically a deadline. Run out of angles and you'll wrongly rebuild the machine. You won't. There's always another wrapper. Okay. And the rule that will stop you from rebuilding, iterate the 5%, also known as the 95-5 rule. Small changes compound. Rebuilding resets you to 0 every run. And you can see this on this graph. So iterate the 5% in compounds. So changing the wrapper a little bit and making it better a little bit every time, it compounds. And when you try to rebuild it from scratch, you're basically at ground zero again. Keep 95%, tweak 5%, and the machine gets smarter. Results stack. It's the same from James Clear's book Atomic Habits. 1% better each day. At the end of the year, you're 365% better. Rebuild and you hand back everything you learned, basically. Change one thing so you can read it. If you change 10 things, you don't know what caused the change. Sorry. If you did a webinar and you changed 10 things and it flopped, you don't really know what was the cause. Maybe 5 of those things were good and 5 of them were bad. So change only 5% or 1 or 2 things and you know what moved. Change everything and you learn nothing. Data, again data. So let's say you change your hook and all of the other things stay the same. You see an increase, okay, it was the hook. The hook became better than the last time. But if you change everything, you don't know what moved it. The same goes, it doesn't matter if it's better or worse than last time. You don't know. The 5% cap isn't about caution, it's about learning. One variable per run gives a clean read. Change 10 and every result is noise you can't act on. When a run underperforms, you get this sudden urge to rebuild. Let's change everything. It's not working. No. The rule says 5%. So you had a below target run, see what didn't work. What you changed last time, maybe that was the case. So change 5%, keep the machine, tweak one thing. A soft run is data, not a verdict. It's not a failure. It will happen. You will have bad runs, you will have great runs. It's not linear. 9 times out of 10, the fix is a 5% tweak, not a teardown of something that already works. Okay? And that's basically it. This is how you make money with webinars and how you run a successful campaign, making sure it doesn't flop after your first webinar. As I said at the beginning, my name is Franco. I run a Done4You webinar agency. If you are thinking about running a webinar, you want help with it, go down below, you have a link to my Calendly, you can schedule a call and we'll go on from there. If not, I hope this helped and I'll see you soon. Bye.